Okay, so today we're going to talk about Buddhism. Buddhism uh, comes on right after Hinduism because it's an offshoot. So if you look at the slide, you'll see the founder is Siddhartha Gautama. Kind of a difficult name to pronounce, but fortunately for you, you rarely have to in my class. Um, Son of a warrior king, he renounced his rich life and became a monk. All this stuff that they're talking about, all these little bullet points, are really summing up the entire journey. It's very long, it's detailed, but for our class we're going to keep it simple. So he was a rich guy. His father was a warrior, kind of a violent man. He looked at it, he saw death and destruction, and he thought there's got to be a better way. So he spent a lot of time sitting under a tree meditating to come up with a better way. Now, obviously this is something only like rich guys can do because poor people have to go out and work and get themselves a living. So he was fortunate that he had the time to do this. And once he became aware, he was known as Buddha, and Buddha means the enlightened one. So he spent the rest of his life traveling around India and teaching others about the path to enlightenment. So in Buddhism, there's four noble truths. Um, in Buddhism, it's there's suffering. Suffering has an origin. In other words, it has a beginning. Suffering can cease, it can stop, and there's a path out of it. Okay? So suffering is what he discovered when he was looking around his life and he saw people dying and suffering, and that's where he got the idea that there is suffering. Now, as far as suffering has an origin, the origin of suffering, according to Buddhism, is desires. As you look on this slide, you see desire can only bring suffering. If you look at the pictures, you'll see what looks to be a nice Bugatti or Ferrari and a palatial estate. In your case, it might be the iPhone X1200,000 bazillion or the latest pair of Air Jordans. It's just stuff you want. So if you want stuff, that's going to bring you suffering. Kind of messed up, really, when you think about it. It's like when you want stuff, it's going to bring you suffering. So every time you want something, you're going to suffer. Not good for you, right? So let's stop and take a thought about the question. I'm not going to pause, but you are, and you're going to hit the pause button, and you're going to think about this, and then you're going to write an answer. If you're doing the play pause it, this will be a question you can fill in. All right. So moving on. So if you go back, if you look earlier, right, in the Four Noble Truths, suffering can cease. Well, the way suffering can cease is to take the path out. If you look right here, well, the path out is this cool little thing here called the Eightfold Path. And there you see Buddha in the middle, and you have right view, right intentions, etc. They don't mean right as in left and right, they mean right as in the correct one. So just to sum up each of them in a quick but boring way so you can understand them a little better, right understanding means you understand what the Four Noble Truths are and that they're noble and true. Right thought means you will practice Buddhism, you practice the faith. Right speech means avoiding slander and gossip. You're not dishing tea on your friends and all this kind of stuff. Right conduct means you're nonviolent. Buddhism is a nonviolent religion, and you're not going to steal from people. Right means of making a living is not slaughtering animals or working at jobs that force you to prey on others. So, Buddhists are vegetarians. They don't believe in killing animals. In fact, they don't believe in killing insects or any living thing, because in Buddhism, much like Hinduism, which we studied prior, they believe in reincarnation, and they believe that it could be their ancestors that are out there as the animals or insects or birds flying around. So you don't want to be killing your ancestors because, well, they could kill some of my relatives, but I digress. Back to right mental attitude or effort. You don't want to be negative, right? Your emotions, anger, jealousy, right? Be kind or be quiet. That's what we want. We want to be nice, kind, right? And then right mindfulness. It's a clear sense of mental state and body and health and feelings. And right concentration. This ties in with mindfulness in that Buddhists practice meditation in order to get themselves in the right state. All right. So thinking about this again, take a break, look at the Eightfold Path, and think about how this might relieve the desires and therefore the suffering. In other words, how do these things help you not want stuff and instead want enlightenment? Right? Take time, pause, and write that down. So if you look here, here's a little sum up of the basic locations of where Buddhism is, Christianity, Islam. We're going to study Islam and Christianity, and you see Hinduism, which we've already studied. We're going to tie in with this. So Buddhists believe in reincarnation. If you do good in this world, you'll be reincarnated, just like Hinduism. It's separate from Hinduism in that in Hinduism, there's a caste system. In other words, like we talked about, if you're good, you'll move up in the world, and ultimately, you'll reach your goal, and you'll be at the top. Whereas in Buddhism, there's not a caste system. It says everybody is equal. There's over 200 different sects, in other words, types. There's no personal God. So in other words, Buddhists aren't atheistic, but they believe in just a force. So there's not a God, there's just a force that guides them. It's a large religion, 76 million, dominant in Asia. So think about things that might attract followers to Buddhism. Write another short blurb on that. And at this point, I thank you for getting your way all the way through this long, dull lecture. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.